What are signs of depression that aren't talked about? Anger. Before I was diagnosed with depression, any small significant thing set me off, but since it would mainly happen while I was working, I had to bite my tongue. I would be in a rotten mood all the time. So, if someone starts to be really angry all the time, or really only complains about situations they absolutely can't change, here's looking at you retail, and you notice they haven't genuinely been happy in a long time, it could be depression. Being so uncomfortable in life. Wanting to be happy and have a great life. But being comfortable in your misery and not having the energy or willingness or care to change it. Memory loss. I honestly can't remember half of my life. Edit. I didn't expect so many people to react. Not everyone has this, and that's okay. We all struggle with our mental illnesses in different ways. As long as we seek help, get better, and educate others, that's all that matters. The 12-18 hours of sleep, and you still wake up feeling like crap. Rumination. This is a big one for me. It's where you replay all of the painful and embarrassing things you've ever done in your life over and over again. It's a terribly difficult thing to stop doing because you don't actually realize you're doing it most of the time. You just think you are having the same normal thoughts everyone else is having. I finally developed my own technique for stopping it, and it's worked pretty well for a couple of years now. Inability to make a simple decision. Some nights I struggle for hours trying to figure out what to eat for dinner. General apathy. Not deep, dark, soul-crushing pain or sadness, just feeling nothingness towards everything. You lose interest in your hobbies, things don't make you happy or sad, you just sort of exist and go through the motions. Addition. The fact that this is so widespread is disheartening, you guys. On the other hand, for what it's worth, whatever you're going through, you're not alone. I went through a long period, if this personally, and came through the other side, and so can you. Please give yourself extra grace right now with this COVID wildness going on around the globe. Maybe you are in a mode of self-preservation just to get through, or maybe not. I hope you are able to speak with a licensed professional, or at least a trusted friend. Stay safe. A messy room / never doing chores. Especially if you live on your own, not caring about cleanliness is a clear sign that you just don't care how you even feel about things anymore. Not being interested in things you used to enjoy. Random bursts of motivation and happiness for maybe a day or so before going right back to apathy. Inability to focus. Imagine having to do homework, but other members of your family are having a conversation. All attention goes to the conversation. Then you realize that you're listening to the conversation and not doing homework, so you spend time mentally beating yourself up because you can't even focus for 1 freaking minute. The no energy, no motivation, no care. It's not laziness, it's just there's nothing in you to do anything, not having any emotions or convictions at all. Being bored. People associate depression with profound sadness, but especially if it's chronic, that's only a small part of depression. You get to the point where you can't feel anything at all. You don't get happy or sad, frightened or excited. You exist without feeling. Imagine living your life not being able to pay attention to anything because it's so boring, your hobbies, friends, job, your life. Imagine being perpetually bored, and only bored, being unable to feel anything but that and occasional, crushing misery. I think that's what people don't get about depression. That it gets so bad that being really sad is actually almost a relief. The inability to complete tasks or meet deadlines no matter how important they are or how much it's a task you normally enjoy doing. It's strange, and I don't know if people talk about it as much, but at least for me it's not necessarily laying around in bed all day, it's more like just not paying my bills on time even though I have the money, because I don't want to turn on my laptop, or get up, and find my login info to pay something. I know I'll get late fees and fall behind, and I literally have the money and still just don't do it. Or starting a task and essentially sitting staring at it for hours until you eventually abandon it totally, even though you wanted to do it and really didn't require anything of you. When I feel like this, it will take me 3 days to finish a piece of jewelry that would normally take an hour, or not packing up my Etsy orders for a week even though it takes literal minutes. It's like a hugely weird blend of inability to focus, and total apathy, and disregard of consequences. Edit. Thank you for the awards, fellow Redditors. I'm both very glad I was able to describe this feeling for us all, and yet very sorry so many of you can relate. Don't give up. I am bipolar, but in my depressive states I wake up in the morning, and my first thought is I just want the day to be over so I can go to bed again. The fact that it is a genuine challenge most days to brush your teeth, shower, brush your hair, act. Because you wonder what's the point anymore, since your life isn't worth living anyways. Anger/irritability. Unable to cry, spending days in bed doing absolutely nothing, no showering, gaining so much weight in a short period of time, back pain, constant headache, constant fear, everything is so hard, failing classes, can't concentrate at all, brain cannot take in any new information, feeling like you don't belong anywhere, feeling like people are moving forward and you're moving backwards, everything sucks. Not wanting anything, and feeling that nothing will ever make you happy. Memory loss. I can't remember even what day it is when it hits. I mix up events, and can sometimes have trouble remembering words. The cognitive function really gets bad. Overgenerosity. Being generous is good, but if someone is needlessly sacrificing time, money, effort, etc. towards something they don't need to, then that can be very similar to a suicidal person giving away their possessions. Absolutely no interest in anything, not even your family or children, who I do love more than life itself. Telling your children to leave your room when all they want to do is talk to you. Not answering phone calls from friends or family members. Not having the will or energy to get out of bed, let alone step out of your home. Having been through all of this after my mom died, I can say, it gets better with time. I went through intensive therapy, and my therapist was a no-nonsense type of guy. He didn't tell me what I wanted to hear. I fought him, argued constantly until I finally began to get it. It took me a couple of years to get there. My depression still manifests itself at times, but my therapist taught me tools to be able to work through it. Absolute self-hatred. And the belief that you are a burden to anyone around you. I was recently diagnosed with mild to severe depression. I also have anxiety and CPTSD. I never would have imagined myself to be depressed, and when I tell people, they don't believe me because I'm so poppy and energetic and bouncy as a person. Here's when I realized it. 1. I stopped eating. I just wasn't hungry, and so I didn't have those hunger signals to remind me to eat. I'm so busy during the day that I didn't realize I hadn't eaten. I lost 10 pounds, which was about 7% of my body weight, in about 3 months. 2. I didn't care about anything, and I couldn't bring myself to care. I'd spend the 2 hours I had set aside for downtime trying to decide what to make for dinner, and what to watch as I made and ate it. Which often ended up with me flipping between 800 shows unable to choose as I stuffed down a potato. I knew I needed to go to bed, but I'd scroll endlessly for hours instead, never even clicking on anything. I'd sit in bed unable to get up. My body worked, but I just couldn't move. I performed proper facial reactions and vocal intonations, but as soon as I was alone, or the interaction was over, my face contorted back to blankness. 3. I was so irritable. I knocked a glass over while loading the dishwasher, and it broke. I lost it. I screamed. I sobbed. I had a panic attack. Over a glass. But of course, it is never just about the glass. 4. I learned about passive suicidal ideation. My understanding is that this is a form of C, in which you imagine yourself dying, but don't have any plans to commit suicide. Examples might include imagining yourself going to sleep, and not waking up, getting hit by a road car, or something else. It involves this feeling like a relief in some way. For me, that manifested as me finally having a rest. I lived in a state of exhaustion, and the future just seemed like it would compound that exhaustion. I was getting married, we got a dog, we want kids, and I knew I'd be in charge of most of that. I had no plans to do anything, but if I died tomorrow, I wouldn't have cared.